buying a new vehicle should feel like a smart investment, but what if I told you that some of the most popular cars could be financial nightmares waiting to happen? In this video, we're diving deep into the shocking truth behind why some vehicles are just plain bad investments. From skyrocketing prices that nobody predicted to unsold inventory piling up at dealerships, the auto market is in turmoil. So what's going on? Why are buyers walking away? And why are dealers now scrambling to recover? Stick with me until the end, because I'm about to reveal the truth behind these skyrocketing prices, the dealer tactics that backfired, and the deals you need to watch out for. Trust me, this is information you can't afford to miss. The exploding cost of new vehicles. Imagine paying over $64,000 for a new truck. That's the average today. The cost of new vehicles has been skyrocketing, and the effect it's having on buyers is shocking. Just a few years ago, the average cost of a new vehicle was far more manageable, with prices hovering around the low to mid $30,000 range. Fast forward to today, and we're looking at an entirely different landscape. This is particularly true for new full-size pickup trucks, with the average price now well over $64,000. The question buyers are asking now is, how did it get so bad? As consumers start realizing the true cost of buying these vehicles, they're choosing where to spend their money. The overwhelming sentiment among consumers is that these high prices are no longer justifiable. What was once a product that many buyers could afford has now become a financial burden. With interest rates climbing and monthly payments soaring, the reality of purchasing a new truck has become more daunting than ever before. And it's not just the price tag that's shocking, it's the actual changes in the vehicles themselves. The shift from naturally aspirated engines to turbocharged and hybridized platforms is adding complexity and cost. Buyers, especially those looking for something simple and reliable, are finding themselves disillusioned with what's being offered. Buyer backlash. Why people are walking away. Consumers are no longer willing to accept outrageous markups and impossible monthly payments. Instead, they're walking away from purchases, leaving dealerships with massive amounts of unsold inventory. What once seemed like an irresistible offer is now a financial burden that no one is willing to bear. One of the key reasons buyers are walking away is the absurd monthly payments that have become the norm. With more than half of all new truck loans exceeding $1,000 per month, it's no wonder that buyers are backing off. These high monthly payments, combined with soaring interest rates, are putting financial strain on buyers who are already feeling the pressure from rising costs of living. People are finding themselves struggling to balance their monthly budgets, with car payments now eating up a larger chunk of their income. It's a vicious cycle that's forcing many to reconsider whether purchasing a new vehicle is worth the financial risk. Take, for example, the emotional strain that buyers are experiencing. Picture someone who was once able to comfortably afford a new truck, now facing the crushing weight of an unaffordable loan. Stories are surfacing across the country of families who thought they could handle the payments, only to realize that after just a few months, they're financially underwater. With the average auto loan term stretching over 72 months, many buyers are finding themselves stuck with higher than expected debt, coupled with a car that's losing value faster than they can pay it off. The backlash is only growing, and dealers are scrambling to figure out how to win back buyers who are increasingly hesitant to spend. As inventory piles up, they're offering larger rebates and incentives, but even those measures aren't enough to overcome the financial burden of the vehicles themselves. The question is, have dealers gone too far in trying to capitalize on the supply shortage? Will buyers ever trust them again? Inventory pileup. Dealers' biggest problem. Today, there are lines of unsold trucks stretched across dealership lots. But how did we get to this? The pandemic-era strategy of driving up prices is now backfiring, leaving dealerships with piles of unsold inventory. What was once a booming market for new and used vehicles has now turned into a nightmare for dealerships. With too many trucks sitting on lots and not enough buyers willing to pay the inflated prices, dealerships are starting to face a harsh reality. The vehicles simply aren't moving. The surge in unsold inventory is not just confined to new vehicles. The used vehicle market, once a thriving sector of the industry, is now equally stagnated. It's an unfortunate consequence of the supply shortages that initially drove up vehicle prices. As production started to pick up again, dealerships found themselves sitting on a mountain of unsold cars, trucks, and SUVs. The logical next step for dealerships was to offer rebates, discounts, and special financing in an attempt to clear the lot. But even these measures are struggling to move the metal. Desperate for sales, many dealerships are now offering rebates that can range from several $1,000s on popular models to more significant discounts on luxury and high-demand vehicles. These discounts, once seen as a last-ditch effort, are now becoming the norm, but it's not enough. Buyers have become conditioned to expect better deals, and now that the market is flooded with vehicles, it's harder for dealers to convince buyers that they're getting a good deal. Even with the discounts, the price tags are still high compared to pre-pandemic times, and that's a turnoff for buyers. In the face of these challenges, some dealers are getting creative with their strategies. They're bundling vehicles with aftermarket accessories, offering additional perks, or even going so far as to include extended warranties or maintenance packages to sweeten the deal. But the underlying issue remains. People aren't buying at the same pace they were before, and no matter how many perks they add to the deal, it's hard to shake the feeling that the prices are simply too high. So, what happens next? Will dealers be able to clear their lots, or will they find themselves sitting on unsold inventory for the foreseeable future? Economic ripple effects on the auto industry. Dealers are refusing new truck shipments, and it's causing layoffs. The refusal of new vehicle shipments to dealerships isn't just an isolated incident. It's part of a larger trend that's shaking up the entire auto industry. With inventory piling up, many dealerships are choosing to turn away new stock, fearing they won't be able to sell it. The result? Assembly lines that were once running at full capacity are now facing production slowdowns, and the ripple effects are being felt throughout the entire supply chain. This issue is not confined to one manufacturer or one region. It's an industry-wide problem that's leading to a reduction in vehicle production, causing layoffs and halting investments. Manufacturers are faced with the challenge of trying to manage their overproduction while also dealing with the financial implications of unsold inventory. As dealers struggle to move their existing stock, assembly plants are feeling the pressure to scale back production, leading to workforce reductions that further impact the economy. If this trend continues, it could have long-term consequences for the auto industry. Manufacturers could be forced to scale back even more, causing significant layoffs in production facilities and affecting supplier companies that rely on vehicle production. The industry could face a prolonged period of stagnation as it grapples with the fallout of the pandemic-era pricing frenzy and the resulting buyer backlash. As the market adjusts to these changes, it's possible that some dealerships may go out of business if they cannot clear their stock or adjust their pricing strategies. For buyers, this means that they're in a more powerful position than ever before. With dealerships desperate to make sales, now may be the best time to strike a deal. But for the auto industry as a whole, it raises the question, will the industry adapt to the changing market, or will it collapse under the weight of its own inflated prices? How dealers exploited buyers and why it's backfiring. During the pandemic, dealers had zero remorse. Now they regret it. The automotive industry experienced a dramatic shift, and one of the most significant changes was how dealerships took advantage of supply shortages. As production slowed and demand surged, dealers seized the opportunity by marking up prices, often outrageously so. What began as a temporary reaction to a global crisis quickly became a long-term strategy for maximizing profits. Dealerships that had traditionally relied on high-volume sales switched to squeezing maximum profit out of each transaction. With supply chains in disarray and inventory limited, the assumption was that desperate buyers would pay almost any price, and for a while they did. Some dealerships added markups of several $1,000s on already expensive vehicles. Popular trims like the Ford F-150 Raptor, Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro, and Jeep Wrangler Rubicon often came with dealer add-ons, pushing prices up by $10,000 or more. This pattern wasn't limited to a few dealerships. It was a nationwide phenomenon. From coast to coast, customers encountered inflated prices, and for a time, cars and trucks still flew off the lots at those premiums. Dealers reveled in their windfall, enjoying unprecedented profit margins. However, that success was short-lived. As supply chains stabilized and prices plateaued, the consequences of their opportunistic tactics became clear. Consumers who had been eager to secure a vehicle during the shortage now felt betrayed, many of them openly voicing their distrust of dealerships. Stories of price gouging spread quickly across social media and review sites, fueling widespread frustration. Buyers became more cautious, unwilling to return to dealerships that had taken advantage of them during a vulnerable time. The result has been a significant loss of goodwill, with dealerships now struggling to regain the trust of customers who feel exploited. The inflated prices that once brought quick profits are now a lasting source of regret for many in the automotive industry. The repossession surge. Currently, there is a 23% increase in repossessions, and it's not over. The high markups that dealerships imposed on vehicles had a ripple effect that hurt more than just buyers. As the average price of a new vehicle surged to unprecedented levels, many buyers found themselves trapped in unaffordable monthly payments. Loan terms now frequently stretch to 72 months or more, luring buyers into long-term commitments that push their financial limits. What seemed manageable at first has quickly become overwhelming as interest rates climb and living costs rise. The consequences are becoming more visible every day. Repossession stories are pouring in from across the country. A young couple, excited to drive off in their first brand new truck, might have seen that dream turn into a nightmare when their income could no longer cover their growing expenses. Similarly, a small business owner who purchased a new vehicle to expand operations may now find themselves not only without the vehicle they depended on, but also out of thousands of dollars in lost equity. Families who once viewed car ownership as a symbol of stability and opportunity are now being forced into difficult decisions, with many having to downsize or forego transportation altogether. These personal tragedies are part of a broader economic pattern that reveals the aftershocks of pandemic-era dealership practices. Buyers who took on enormous loans during a period of inflated pricing are now contending with the harsh reality of unsustainable debt. With interest rates continuing to rise, monthly payments have become unmanageable for a growing number of consumers. The situation highlights how unchecked markups and risky loans have left many Americans in financial distress, burdened by vehicles they can no longer afford to keep. For many, the dream of car ownership has become yet another financial trap in an increasingly difficult economic climate. Consumer trends and survival strategies. In today's market, where overproduction has resulted in an oversaturation of new vehicles, buyers are taking matters into their own hands. With millions of unsold new vehicles sitting in dealership lots, buyers are increasingly turning to other options. Some are opting to hold onto their current vehicles for much longer than they would have in the past. The trend toward longer vehicle retention has become more apparent in recent years, with many owners now keeping their cars for 5 to 7 years, and in some cases even longer. Rising vehicle prices, interest rates, and insurance premiums are driving a shift in consumer behavior, making new car purchases less appealing. Many buyers, already under financial strain, are choosing to maintain and repair their current vehicles instead of taking on the high costs of new ones. For some, this is a necessity. For others, a practical choice, as new cars have simply become unaffordable. The increasing expense of vehicle ownership is further exacerbated by soaring insurance premiums and car loan interest rates, which have pushed monthly payments to unmanageable levels. As a result, more people are holding on to older vehicles for longer, a trend likely to continue as economic pressures persist. In a market where vehicle prices continue to rise and where consumers are becoming more cautious about their spending habits, it's clear that dealerships will need to adjust their approach if they want to stay competitive. However, the question remains, will they be able to change in time to win back buyers, or will the fallout from their past actions continue to haunt them for years to come? The future of the auto industry hinges on how dealers respond to this new reality and whether they can rebuild the trust that was broken. For now, buyers are in control, and it's up to the dealers to adapt or risk losing their customer base for good. The fall of the electric vehicle hype. Not long ago, electric vehicle trucks like the Ford F-150 Lightning and GMC Hummer EV were all the rage. Buyers paid steep markups to get these cutting-edge models, which promised an eco-friendly future filled with advanced technology and innovative performance. For a while, these trucks seemed destined to revolutionize the automotive landscape, captivating both early adopters and sustainability-minded consumers. Automakers boasted about their impressive features, such as instant torque, off-road capabilities, and the ability to power homes during outages, further fueling the hype. However, the excitement was short-lived. Today, these EV trucks sit unsold on dealership lots, their prices slashed to entice hesitant buyers. Practical concerns have dampened consumer enthusiasm. Long charging times, limited towing capacity under heavy loads, and high upfront costs make them less appealing than traditional gas-powered trucks. Many buyers are also wary of the inadequate charging infrastructure, particularly in rural areas, which further complicates ownership. Even government incentives and manufacturer rebates have done little to reignite demand as consumers weigh these shortcomings against their daily needs. This cooling of interest underscores a broader challenge in the EV transition. While the vision of electrification remains strong, consumers want vehicles that are not only environmentally friendly, but also practical, reliable, and affordable. The gap between consumer expectations and current EV capabilities has become evident, pushing automakers to reevaluate their strategies. If the electric truck market is to regain momentum, manufacturers will need to refine their offerings, enhancing battery technology, expanding charging networks, and improving performance metrics. Until then, electric trucks, once symbols of innovation and progress, face a hard reality check in winning back consumer trust and excitement. The simplicity buyers want. For years, automakers transformed heavy-duty trucks into high-end vehicles with luxury features, plush interiors, premium sound systems, and advanced navigation. These upgrades came with hefty price tags, often well into six figures. Some buyers embrace the combination of luxury and utility, but that demand is waning as economic pressures and shifting priorities take hold. Today's truck buyers are seeking simpler, more affordable options that emphasize durability and practicality. Instead of high-tech gadgets and leather seats, they want trucks built for tough jobs, capable of handling daily work without costly extras. The appeal of straightforward, reliable workhorses is growing, pushing automakers to reevaluate their approach. Even as top-tier luxury trucks sit unsold, models that focus on performance, ease of maintenance, and affordability are gaining traction among budget-conscious consumers and small business owners. This shift reflects a return to basics. Buyers are moving away from trucks that feel more like luxury SUVs and back toward vehicles that deliver on rugged reliability. Automakers that adapt to this demand for simplicity, durability, and utility may find themselves better positioned to meet changing consumer expectations and retain their market share. Toyota's misstep, a brand in trouble. Toyota's redesigned Tacoma and Tundra trucks have left loyal customers feeling disillusioned and frustrated. Once celebrated for their legendary reliability and toughness, these models are now facing a wave of criticism for deviating from the core qualities that earned Toyota its reputation. Fans are particularly disappointed by the introduction of turbocharged engines and hybrid powertrains, technologies that many view as overly complex and less dependable than the naturally aspirated engines that previously powered these trucks. For drivers who prioritize durability and simplicity, these changes are seen as a step in the wrong direction, creating concerns about long-term reliability and maintenance costs. Quality concerns are also undermining Toyota's once unshakable reputation. The new trucks are reportedly built with cheaper materials and exhibit reduced durability, leading to complaints about premature wear and tear. Longtime customers who trusted their Toyota trucks to last hundreds of thousands of miles now find themselves questioning whether the redesigned models can deliver the same level of performance and reliability. These doubts have led to declining consumer confidence, particularly among the brand's core base of truck buyers who depend on their vehicles for both work and daily life. As a result, Toyota's standing in the highly competitive truck market has taken a hit. Loyal customers feel betrayed by a company that once set the gold standard for rugged, reliable work vehicles. Many are voicing their concerns in reviews, forums, and social media, urging Toyota to return to its roots. If the automaker hopes to regain its former glory, it will need to address these criticisms head-on by improving build quality and ensuring that future models can meet the expectations of durability, simplicity, and reliability that customers have come to associate with the Toyota brand. Failure to do so could risk losing a significant share of the loyal truck market to competitors offering more traditional, trusted designs. Lessons from the crisis: timing your purchase. The best deals of 2025 are coming. Here's when to strike. As dealerships across the country are struggling with unsold inventories and rising stockpiles, the window for bargain hunters is wide open. If you're considering buying a new vehicle, there are key moments throughout the year when deals will be at their absolute peak. First and foremost, spring and summer, particularly from May to August, offer the most favorable conditions for buyers. During these months, dealerships are trying to clear out their inventories before the year-end rush begins. Manufacturers have pushed out many new models earlier in the year, which leads to a lull in vehicle sales during the summer months. This creates a perfect opportunity for buyers to negotiate lower prices and secure better deals. Another reason to target this mid-year window is that many dealerships will be trying to meet sales targets for the first half of the year. Often, they will be willing to offer substantial discounts or throw in additional incentives to move units off their lots. This is especially true for overstocked models or vehicles that are approaching the end of the model year. Furthermore, dealerships may be more flexible with pricing in these months, as they are increasingly desperate to clear inventory inventory before the next wave of models arrives. By acting during this period, buyers can leverage this desperation to secure prices lower than at any other point in the year. Expect to see discounts, rebates, and financing deals that can save you thousands, provided you're armed with the knowledge of current inventory levels and market trends. But what if you miss this optimal buying window? Don't worry, end-of-year deals can also be quite enticing, especially as dealerships push to clear out their older stock. While these deals can be appealing, they tend to be highly competitive, and you might face a much higher level of pressure from sales staff eager to close deals before the new year. If you're willing to navigate this more intense atmosphere, however, there's potential for some great deals to be made. Outsmarting dealer tactics. Dealers are still trying to trick you. Here's how to outsmart them. It's no secret that dealerships are under increasing pressure to sell vehicles, and many will resort to all sorts of tactics to secure a deal, often at your expense. However, with a little awareness and negotiation know-how, you can avoid falling into these traps and make sure you're not taken advantage of. One of the most common dealership strategies is using high-pressure sales tactics to rush buyers into a decision. This often involves telling you that the vehicle you're interested in is in high demand, or that the deal they're offering is the best you're ever going to find. In reality, though, dealerships are often just trying to close sales quickly, and they'll use these tactics to push you into buying before you have a chance to truly consider your options. One of the key strategies you can use is to never let a dealership rush you. Take your time, do your research, and don't let them convince you that you're going to miss out on a deal. If a dealer is unwilling to offer a competitive price or gives you an inflated trade-in value, walk away. There are always other options available. When it comes to negotiating, one of the most effective ways to drive down the price is to focus on the out-the-door cost, not just the monthly payments. Dealers will often try to push low monthly payments, which can make it seem like a great deal, but what they don't tell you is that they're extending the loan period, meaning you'll end up paying far more over the course of the loan. In terms of trade-ins, be prepared to negotiate aggressively. Dealers often undervalue trade-ins to pad their profits, so it's important to know your vehicle's value before heading to the dealership. Use online tools to check the trade-in value and bring documentation to support your claim. If the dealership is offering a low price, be prepared to walk away, and they might just come back with a higher offer. Another sneaky way dealerships try to boost profits is by pushing extra products like extended warranties, protection packages, or paint sealants. These add-ons can quickly inflate your vehicle's price, and often they're not even necessary, so don't be afraid to say no if you don't need them. Remember, you're in control of the deal. What's your experience with dealership upsells? Got any tips or stories to share? Drop them in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.